What is going on, guys and girls? My name is James, ThnxCya. Welcome back today to Roblox. How are you doing, everyone? Welcome back, welcome back. Today, of course, it is time for some brand new Bee Swarm Simulator, and this one is going to be called Tips and Tricks for Pros. So welcome back, everyone. I hope you guys are good. This is like the second of two videos, basically. A couple of days ago, we uploaded a video called Tips and Tricks for Noobs, and this is like the next one, which is called Tips and Tricks for Pros. Hopefully you guys have seen that video. If you haven't, kind of let me clarify this a little bit. Tips and Tricks for Noobs and Pros isn't necessarily if you're like good or bad at the game. Basically, what that means is the first video was focusing around all of the more basic stuff and the slightly lower level stuff, to be honest, most of which I actually still do every single time I play. So I did feel that there was quite a good amount of useful information in that one. This Tips and Tricks for Pros video is more going to focus around the later game content and the end game content. And we're going to be trying to cover like as much stuff as possible for slightly later on in the game. Hopefully you guys will enjoy both of these videos, and hopefully they'll be of use in some way, maybe even just one tip. I do hope so. Anyway, let's get started. This is going to be a tricky one to make, but I'm going to do my best. A little bit later on in the video, we're going to get into how to make honey super duper efficiently. We're going to talk about wind shrines and big bosses and all that good stuff. But first question, and this is one that I do get asked quite a lot as well. And this one is, I guess, sort of fairly straightforward to answer. It is quite simply, which one is the best mask? This one is, in my opinion, not as complicated as it might seem, and it can be a little bit intimidating because you've got three masks, they're all priced roughly the same with different ingredients, and truth be told, they all kind of do different things in their own special way. However, my personal advice would be, if you need to go and grab a mask, if you're going to go and grab your first mask, I would recommend going for the gummy mask. This quite simply is because the gummy ability is fantastic, especially if you are field boosting or using the wind shrine. That gummy ability is incredible, and if you are able to actually team the gummy mask up with the gummy boots, I know the gummy boots are really expensive, the gummy mask is amazing. Gumdrops, all that good stuff, really, really help. In case you're wondering what the other two masks do, it's kind of more like a red and blue style thing. I feel like the gummy mask is the best over all fields, and this is why I like it. I like to be straight down the middle, have one of each bee. I like to have my gummy mask. It means that I can perform pretty well in every single field. It doesn't really matter. Red mask is better for red fields, although to be honest, most people just use the red mask for dealing extra damage. And the blue mask, the diamond mask, has diamond drain, which is also very good, better in blue fields. I would always recommend gummy mask first for the honey, demon mask second for the extra damage, and diamond mask third if you want to complete the collection. Okay, next up, and I think we touched on this a little bit in our noobs video, but it is quite simply the benefits of a private Bee Swarm server over a public one. So this one is difficult, and obviously this one does kind of revolve around if you do have Robux to spend or not. But I think a Bee Swarm a private server for a month is 150 Robux. So it's slightly more pricey than some public servers. But when it comes to Bee Swarm is essentially a collection game. So there's a lot of collecting involved, and especially when it comes to advanced crafting materials, the more of something that you can collect, the more you can make it into something else, and then the easier or quicker you can get to your end goal. So of course, when it comes to advanced crafting recipes, items and drops are very, very important. Now, the benefits of a private server, for example, are when it goes nighttime, you're always probably going to get that vicious bee without accidentally losing it or someone taking it down too quickly. You are going to get every single one of the firefly drops, which, you can normally do about 9. Depending on which fields they go to. You're probably going to get all of the sprouts as well. You're going to have less lag when you're doing the ant challenge for a higher score, and you're also going to get like every drop basically from the bits and pieces. Do you know what I mean? Like, there won't be anyone else to be in competition with. Although, to be honest, if you're in a public server, I would always recommend trying to share them, because sharing is caring. Now, as I did mention in the previous episode, I do think that if you're an earlier game player, public servers are actually much better. And I mentioned that quickly. I don't want to kind of repeat myself, but when it comes to spawning in more windy bees, you've got people to help you with the windy bees. You've actually got higher level people perhaps to help you with the sprouts if they're slightly too strong for you. So there's always a good benefit to having public servers. However, If you do want to try and be like a little bit more efficient and you want to try and get your character up a little bit more, I would also kind of recommend, if you can, jumping on a private server if possible. Maybe invite a couple of your friends or something. I do have a couple of private servers with my Discord, so my Team ThnxCya Discord, it's like linked in all the descriptions, so people jump on there. But yeah, there is some use to it. I tend to grind away on a private server if I'm trying to do something like the Ant Challenge, but you know, public servers are nice. It's quite nice to play with people. It's kind of up to you. Now, in terms of gaining extra items as well, there are plenty of things in the map which are going to help you. So, I mean, the thing is, if it exists on this map or game, chances are it's going to drop something that's going to be of use. So in our previous video, we mentioned about the benefits of using the loot luck ability from the baby bee to essentially boost your chances of gaining extra and better items. So yeah, I don't want to repeat myself too much, but essentially what we were doing is we actually, every time we go and take down one of the bigger mobs or one of the bosses, we always wait for a baby love token to give us that extra loot luck, and then when we take down the mob or the boss, it means that perhaps we're going to get better drops from it. What I do is I just wait. I wait for a baby love token, follow the bees around. Sometimes it takes a while, but they do pop up. And then I wait for the baby love, there it is, and quite simply, we just jump straight down into the king beetle, and we always try and take the king beetle down with a bit of loot luck. So obviously, as I kind of mentioned, this really does depend on how high your character's level is, I guess, but look at all of those drops from the king beetle. 5 tickets, 5 magic beans. We'll come to magic beans later on. Magic beans are very, very important. What else did we get? 3 blue extracts, 25 moon charms, 1 red extract, 5 royal jellies, 10 gumdrops, and some bits and pieces. So as you can see, that's just the king beetle. Now, in terms of respawn times, always pay attention to when you took down the bosses last. So I know that I've just taken this down sort of my time. Currently, it's just a little bit before 5 p.m. for me. So I know that definitely by like tomorrow, next day, I can take it down. I can actually take it down a little bit like sooner than that, but I know that once a day, roughly about that time, I can do this. And once again, I do exactly the same thing with the tunnel bear. I wait for the baby love token, and then what I do with the tunnel bear is I run forward a little bit. My bees kind of chase it, but it gives me a little bit of extra time to like get some tokens. And then I just stand here, tunnel bear goes down, and he drops all of his goodies. So yeah, as you can see, oh, look at that. With loot luck, whoa, 5 microconverters? Dude, 3 enzymes, 5 microconverters, that's the most I've ever seen from Tunnel Bear. 25 gumdrops, 1 oil, we got a diamond egg, 20 moon charms, 1 magic bean, 5 royal jellies, and 10 tickets. To be honest, if I didn't use my loot luck, I've never seen drops that good without using it. So as you can see, the benefits of loot luck versus no loot luck, I really do think it helps. So of course, those aren't the only 2 bosses that drop a bunch of items. Now, as I did mention, yes, this is more of a later game style video, but of course we have a couple more bosses in the map, first of which, of course, is old Stumpy. And yeah, do I really have... I guess I've got a few little tips and tricks, so I'm kind of in the middle of taking him down. But basically, the Stump snail is another source of really, really good drops. Now, of course, yes, it does take a really long time to do it. However, I guess like one little thing that I sometimes do is if I'm playing, I just put something heavy on my spacebar. So I do that. Basically, I just bounce in the middle of the field. And what happens is the bees come into the middle, and occasionally when you get a link token and stuff, you can sort of AFK, I guess, although you will disconnect after 20 minutes. So yeah, you can literally just do this for 20 minutes. Your bees will kind of do their thing. You'll hit the tokens. You'll hit the vicious bee spikes. There you go. I'm not touching it. I can go on my phone. I can go and do something else. I can't use my computer, obviously, because I've got the spacebar going. And yeah, also the coconut crab. Another amazing source of items, and I guess the coconut crab, I think we're going to save that for just a second because the coconut crab is really, really linked into how to make honey super duper quick. Before we get into the next part of the video, there's going to be an awful lot of information all at once, and there's like 7 or 8 topics that all link together. And this is kind of like my more end game big piece of advice. However, I'm going to try and start that off by talking about the windy bee, because in my opinion, the windy bee is the ultimate bee for collecting resources. Now, of course, I understand you have to do 10 spirit bear quests in order to get this, or if you did what I did, you got the first edition version, so maybe you have it already. It's a difficult bee to get. Obviously, you have to donate the Cloud Vials, and, you know, it does take some time. So I appreciate not everyone is going to have it. However, if you do, congratulations. You have now unlocked an amazing way to farm items. So yeah, Windy Bee and Haste tokens are your best friends when it comes to collecting items. So normally what I do is when I'm doing a field booster, I utilize the haste stack which is generated, and then I also use the Windy Bee's tornado ability when it spawns to have a maximum speed tornado and use magic beans. So for example, let me show you the Windy Bee here just very, very quickly. So if you actually read the text, it says here with the tornado, it spends your haste stacks to summon a tornado, which damages enemies and collects tokens and pollen. The lifespan, speed, and damage are increased by the number of haste stacks spent and the bee level. So the ferocity of the tornado, one, it's linked to the level of the bee, and two, the amount of haste that it spends. So obviously, if you can get that bad boy generating when you've got a 10 haste stack, it is happy days. So I'm going to try and demonstrate this here. Let's just pretend, for example, I'm doing a field booster. So normally I would do this in the coconut booster, but I want to say something specific about the coconut booster a little bit later on. So let's just say, for example, I'm doing a strawberry field booster. So what I'm doing is I'm just doing my thing and, you know, just trying to build up a haste stack here, basically. So I keep my eye on the top. I can see that I currently have a 5, which isn't awful, but we can do better. So for example here, let's just keep going. Let's see if we can get like a 6. We've got a 6. Okay, let's go with a 7. Let's go with an 8. Nice, 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 nice. Oh, there's my thing. So I've got a 9. I'll tell you what, we're going to go 9. So basically, as soon as I see that we've got a good stack, I'm going to hit the ability and I'm going to plant a sprout. Boom. And basically, I just let the tornado do its work. So wherever the tornado is, I run to the opposite side of the field, and it's so powerful. It's so, so good. Now, some people complain. They're like, oh, as soon as I hit that tornado ability, my haste goes really slow, and I can't pick up items. But in my opinion, I think that you pick up more items with a high-level tornado than you would with just a normal haste stack running around. So obviously, that was just a random green sprout, but we did manage to get 53 strawberries from one single green sprout, which is, you know, enough for a red extract. But if we get that with like a rare or an epic, ooh, spicy. Actually, you know what? I'm going to try and do it. Okay, so I think we've got a 9 here. So what we're going to do is we're going to plant the sprout. We're going to pick this up. Boom. And we're going to go to town. So yeah, that one was just a rare. Obviously, epics are incredible when you get them. And obviously, if you can get a legendary, that would be amazing. You've got to remember as well that if you are actually on a field booster, your field is going to be more powerful. You know, you're going to be able to generate honey quicker, which really, really does help with the, you know, popping that sprout super duper quick. So right now, we have like 0 field boosters. But for me, anyway, I can pop these guys pretty quickly. If, for example, we were to get like a diamond or something, yeah, it would take a little bit longer. But if we're on a field booster, I think that would be okay. However, from that one single rare sprout, we managed to get 171 strawberries from the strawberry field. So yeah, think about that instantly as basically like 3 red extract, essentially. We got a few other bits and pieces. Obviously, the strawberry field is mainly strawberries, but you can do this in pretty much every field. The only time that I wouldn't recommend doing it specifically is at nighttime, especially if you don't need moon sprouts, because moon sprouts tend to spawn a lot more at nighttime, and yeah, most often you'll get a moon sprout. Depends. If you want moons, great, go for it. So just before we go up to the wind shrine and then start talking about how to generate honey super duper quick using the winds boosts, just a little bit of tiny advice for end game and later game players. If you're kind of, you know, up to a level where you're happy with your bees and, you know, you're happy with your gear and you just want to make honey, the 3 most valuable items for you in the game, quite simply, are jelly beans, micro-converters, and field dice. So yeah, obviously jelly beans, they stack up to 50. However, if you are doing the spirit bear quests, then there's an awful lot of jelly bean sharing, which is a bit of a shame because you do have to use a lot of your jelly beans up in that quest. It is why right now I have 1 single jelly bean. It's because I do use them, but I haven't quite managed to build up my stack yet. They are quite rare. Also with micro-converters, amazing because when you're doing a winds boost, you don't want to leave the field. You want to stay in that field for as long as possible. So you can stack those guys up to 15. If you receive them from a quest reward, then they'll stack past 15, but you'll never naturally be able to get them past 15. And yeah, field dice stack up to 25. These are essentially like an insurance policy in case you don't get coconut boost when you've donated something to get some wins. So my advice simply is try not to waste these guys. Sometimes it's really tempting to just like be lazy and not run back to the conversion bit, but I always try and get as many field microconverters and field dice and stuff as possible just before I'm going to go and donate an egg to the Wind Shrine. So the egg itself, I've always found every single time I've donated an egg, I've always had wins boosts. So sometimes if you donate other items, you might get your badge might shiver, so you might get some items. That can be really useful if you're trying to save up some microconverters and stuff, or you'll have like a Windy Bee spawn. Windy Bee is very good for extra tickets, Cloud Vials, you sometimes get magic beans, all that kind of good stuff, but I'm always trying to get a coconut boost if possible. Now, in terms of boosting in the coconut field, I always try and wait for when I have a full stack of microconverters, and one of the easiest ways of doing that, quite simply, is taking down the crab. He drops a bunch of microconverters, but if I can't quite finish that stack, for example, this 10 here, I haven't had a single one of those from the coconut crab. They have all been from the memory match, from taking down mobs, and also taking down bosses. But yeah, what we need to do now is we need to take down coconut crab in order to actually have a chance at getting into here. So, a little bit of advice for coconut crab. I always go up to the pepper patch first, and before I enter the field, I want to have a 10 stack of focus. So, in terms of boosts, the ones that I use, I pop an oil, which just gives me a little bit of extra move speed for me and my bees, and then just as I'm about to hit 10, I pop a tropical drink, which gives us a 5% extra critical chance. So yeah, oh, there we go, got 2 to begin with. No, that was 1. Okay, never mind. So yeah, what I'm going to do here is, you can put down a sprinkler, but I wouldn't use the collector. Sometimes you can fill up a bit quickly if you actually hit like your Inspire tokens. So I just try and like plop around the field a little bit carefully, and I want to try and generate a 10 stack of focus. Sometimes you won't get it first time, sometimes it'll do it really quickly, just kind of random. So yeah, we're getting super close here to the 10 stack of focus. I'm just keeping an eye on the field. You can see though, our pollen is actually really, really high. It's because we hit a tornado, which is a little bit unfortunate. But yeah, sometimes like it will fail on 10. So, oh, look, we've got 8 now. That's really annoying. So you can see our thing is full, which is not ideal, to be honest with you. Let's go and pop a tropical drink, and then we're going to jump in the field. So my advice here is take a hit, because what happens when you take a hit, it activates your coconut shield, and it actually gives you a bit of a boost. So once you're in with the crab, obviously avoid his attacks, but try and keep those stacks as high as possible. So the only problem is sometimes the tokens spawn really, really close to him, so you can kind of just edge, but if you get too close to those claws, he will actually do some damage. So yeah, what I would try and recommend, try and keep that rage stack up to 3. Try and keep your stingers on. I actually didn't notice that my stingers had gone then, which is super annoying. But yeah, in terms of getting a good time, it really just does depend on if you can keep those stacks full. You can see there my focus has nearly run out. Oh, there we go, I topped it up to 10. Sometimes your tornado goes absolutely nowhere near the crab, which is kind of annoying. Sometimes you might not get your X-Flame from your Demon Mask. I always recommend using the Demon Mask for this, just to boost your damage up a bit. And yeah, you can kind of see what time we're going to get. So we got, how long did we get? We got 51 seconds. So our record currently is 44. So we can go quicker than that, but he's going to drop a bunch of items. The only problem is I'm actually going to use a microconverter here, purely because I'm actually going to get one back. But yeah, ideally, if you could have some backpack space, every time you hit a link token, it picks up all the items for you. So depending on how quick you do it, the better items you're going to get, basically. But yeah, we got a good amount of items that time. So we got 91 coconuts, 11 microconverters, 14 tropical drinks, 2 oils, 4 magic beans, 2 glues, oil, star jelly, all that good stuff. And yeah, now we have a free coconut field for the next day and 5 hours. In terms of really making that honey quick, let's see if we can give you a good example here. So we're gonna go to the gummy mask. This is my go-to mask always when I'm doing this. And in terms of my hotbar, what I want to have on here is I want to have gumdrops, because I'm gonna auto gumdrop, because I want my ability to trigger as often as possible. I'm gonna have my stack of microconverters. I'm gonna have my coconuts, because dropping coconuts is also a really, really useful way of emptying your backpack a little bit extra. I'm going to have my sprouts, because sprouts are also a really good way of topping up your coconuts, especially if you're in the coconut field, obviously. And on the number 6, I have jelly beans. Now, unfortunately, as of right now, I only have 1 single jelly bean. You can get jelly beans from the memory match. You can also get them as a reward from the ant challenge and stuff. Jelly beans are hard to come by, and these are amazing because if you can time it right, you can make huge honey from the boosts. But as I mentioned a couple of times, it really just depends on if all of your boosts line up. But yeah, you can see here we're pretty much prepared. I've got 11 field dice, which is not the greatest. It really depends on what items, what boosts we're going to get from the Wind Shrine. But personally, I would recommend donating gold eggs. So I buy these from the ticket tent for 50 tickets each, and I find that these sometimes give us a 4 or 5 times coconut. So yes, you can donate higher level eggs, and the higher level eggs, especially the star eggs and the that kind of stuff, they give you even higher boosts. But just for your day-to-day honey grind, I would recommend gold eggs. And are we going to get coconuts? We are! Awesome. Okay, cool. So what I'm going to do here is this is how I do things. I've got a 4 times coconut win, so it's between 4 and 5. I'm going to pop a red extract, a blue extract, my glue, my oil, my enzymes, and my tropical drink. I'm going to go straight into the cave because we have this bad boy, which works every 4 hours. We're going to click on you. As soon as we do this, we're going to pop our sprinkler, we're going to pop our gumdrops, we're going to pop our automatic coconut dropping, and we are going to go mad in the field. I would also recommend turning off the pollen text in the options, just so you can see where your tokens actually are. And basically what we want to do now is we want to spend as long as possible in this field. So we're going to be running around here. We're going to try and get under every single coconut possible, so we can keep emptying our backpack. And then if our pollen gets full and we're not actually generating any, then we're going to use a microconverter. So you've got to try and time it. Keep an eye on your stack here of your passive gummy morph, because you want these. I'm going to empty this now because we've just got one of those abilities. So I want a lick token. So obviously festive buff's really, really good, but we want to try and get higher if possible. So yeah, let's see what we can do. We've got 15 minutes or so of this. I'm basically going to try and stay here as long as possible, but unfortunately I will run out of microconverters eventually. But yeah, let's see what we can do. Oh yeah, another thing as well, every single time you get a nice haystack, I would recommend dropping a magic bean in there, quite simply because this is going to keep your coconuts topped up super duper high. Even if you're automatically coconut dropping for like 15 minutes straight, chances are if you do harvest some of your magic beans in here, you're probably only actually going to use 10 coconuts worth, because you'll just replace them when using the tornado, and also the tornado is picking up other items, so it's really, really good. It's a nice way of using them. Another little tip as to see how well you're doing, keep an eye on your pollen per second just to the right of your honey meter. So yeah, this is a really nice way of knowing how your boosts are stacking up and how much you might be expecting to make. So usually with my character, if I'm not using if I'm not using jelly beans like I am right now, and I'm just doing this normally, this could range anywhere between usually about between 10 and 40 million a second. But sometimes if those boosts stack up ridiculously high, I've seen it as high as like 200 million a second or something ridiculous. But as I mentioned, sometimes that doesn't happen. It really is just up to timing. If all of your tokens like align all in one go, that's a really, really nice thing to happen. It doesn't always happen though. But yeah, as of right now, we are on, what are we on? Let's have a little look if we can hit those inspire tokens. We're on 44, 48, 50, 55, 59. Okay, we peaked at 59. Pretty good. Okie dokie, so it seems like our boost is just about running out. We might be able to trigger one more gumdrop ability by the time it runs out, but I think we did okay, all things considered. So obviously we're leaving the field right now. We burned through all of our microconverters, and the thing is, because we've actually been using the sprouts, we started with 150 coconuts, and we're going to leave with basically like 120. So we've only really used 30 coconuts. In reality, though, we've used way more. We can do one more, why not? There we go. So yeah, let's actually see how we do. Our boosts have run out, so I'm going to turn off my coconuts now. I'm going to turn off my automatic dropper. And yeah, let's actually see how many coconuts we can get back. So we can just use them again, basically, or we can make them into something. Oh, it's up to you. There we go. So, oh, it's still going. Go, 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 go. Let's grab some more coconuts. There we go. And there we go. And yeah, there we go. So we started with 150 and we've ended with 133. So we've barely used any because we've been harvesting as we've been going along. And I don't think that was the best one in the world, but I think we did okay. We are on 14. So I think I made a couple before. So I think we made about 12 billion, which is not the highest one, but bearing in mind we are only using like a 4 times coconut thing. So yeah, that can be between anywhere for me personally, between like 10 and like 20. If I use like a higher level egg, obviously that goes up. I think our record is 40 billion, but you can go higher. Like, that's the thing, you might not make as much as that, you might make more than me. It really just does depend on if your boost line up. But yeah, I would say 12 billion for 15 minutes work, it's totally worth it. So yeah, I'm not too sure what else I kind of want to say in this video. Oh yeah, also Stickbug, Really, really nice way of gaining star jelly if you can get him to, at least like a badge level. So that's another way of getting some extra star jelly. I forgot to mention that earlier. Yeah, I don't really know what else I have to say particularly. Over the course of the 2 videos, I feel like I've covered most of the general points when it comes to the game itself. But I guess all of this is what works for you. It's kind of half the fun is sort of experimenting and trying stuff out. So I would recommend coconut boosters if you're at that kind of level. I really do think they help an awful lot. But yeah, in terms of saving up items as well, always try and make sure you've got something going on in the blender. All of those items do add up eventually. So I've just made 36 oils. I'm basically just stacking stuff up, to be honest. But because I'm doing all of those sprouts all of the time, these items, they just keep going up and up and up. So yeah, which is really nice for me. But obviously, if you're doing that and trying to make some extra gear, it's always nice to kind of have that stuff going on as well. But yeah, I'm not too sure I have anything else to add to this video. If I think of a few more things, maybe we'll make a 3rd video. Or if you want to know anything more specific, then maybe we can try and put together another video or something. But yeah, I kind of feel like ultimately it's just important to have fun with it. To be honest with you, just enjoy things. Don't take it too seriously. Just enjoy, play by yourself, play with your friends, play on public servers, enjoy the grind. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. So thank you very much for watching. Really hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, please remember to poke me on that like button. And if you're not yet subscribed, go for it, because we do Roblox done fun. But until next time, thank you once again for watching. It's been such a pleasure. As always, thanks. ThnxCya.